I'm diverging from my usual content to highlight a state Senate race that has national significance. Doug Jones is currently senator for Alabama. He's a Democrat. He's the first Democratic senator from Alabama in 25 years. He's up for re-election in 2020, and despite the fact that he is overwhelmingly the best candidate, he is vulnerable. He's vulnerable because only about 30% of voters in Alabama are Democrats. Today I'm looking at why, even if you don't live in Alabama, you should be interested in Doug Jones. I'm Godless Granny. Let's have a chat. Before I get started, I'd like to announce that I'm suspending all payments from my Patreon account. So Abe and Helen, I'm not going to be charging for this video or any videos in the future until things with the coronavirus have settled down. I don't need the money. I asked for financial support really to see if there was anyone out there that considered what I had to say sufficiently worthy of continuing that they would put money into it. And I have been very encouraged by Abe and Helen. I've also been encouraged by comments that I've received from other people. And so I will continue to put out my content, but I will not charge for any videos. Abe and Helen, if you need the money, please keep it for yourselves. If you don't need the money, please give it to someone else who's suffering because of the issues with the coronavirus. And like I said, until further notice, I will not be charging for any videos. So if you want to join my Patreon page just to give me the emotional support, I would be happy to have you. But know that it won't cost you anything financially, at least for the next 2 months. Okay, with that out of the way, let's look at Doug Jones. At the end of the month, if it isn't delayed because of the coronavirus, there will be a runoff election between Jeff Sessions and Tommy Tuberville to determine the Republican candidate for Senate. In my opinion, Jeff Sessions is the only serious candidate of the two, and I can't even take him seriously. It's kind of like having a choice between a bad singer and a wannabe. I recently received this ad for Jeff Sessions in the mail. His major platform is that he supports Trump. His TV ads also promote him for his support of Trump. I'll speed these up so you don't have to suffer too much.
I am pleased to endorse Donald Trump for the presidency of the United States.
You know, out of the 100 United States senators, I was the very first one to stand with Donald Trump. While the others were hiding under their desks, I went to work. I knew he was the one to make America great again, and I'll keep fighting for President Trump and his agenda. I'm Jeff Sessions. I approve this ad.
Bradley Byrne and Tommy Tuberville are desperate, telling lies about Jeff Sessions. The truth? When Trump ran for president, only one senator had the guts to support him. Only one. Jeff Sessions. Byrne stood with the liberals, said Trump was not fit to be president, and stabbed Trump in the back right before the election. And Tuberville is a tourist in Alabama. He lives, votes, and pays taxes in Florida. The conservative you can trust, Jeff Sessions.
I'm Jeff Sessions, and I approve this ad.
But what does Trump have to say about Sessions?
And as you know, the Attorney General says, I'm going to recuse myself. I'm going to recuse. And I said, why the hell didn't he tell me that before I put him in? Jeff Sessions never took control of the Justice Department, and it's a sort of an incredible thing.
Go ahead, read it. Trump has made no secret of his feelings about Sessions. He's called Sessions a traitor, a dumb Southerner, Mr. Magoo, and perhaps most humiliating of all, member of my administration.
On Twitter, Trump says, "This is what happens to someone who loyally gets appointed Attorney General of the United States and then doesn't have the wisdom or courage to stare down and end the phony Russia witch hunt, recuses himself on first day in office, and the Mueller scam begins." First of all, Trump is factually incorrect. Sessions recused himself after about 3 weeks on the job. Recusing himself was one thing that Sessions got right. He was involved in the campaign. The campaign was under investigation. It would have been unethical for him to continue to be involved in the investigation. It's kind of like asking your best friend to stand on the other side of the table while you play poker to check out your opponent's cards, and he says, no, that would be dishonest. Here is Jeff Sessions' homepage for his campaign. He has no issues. He stands only on his personal support for Trump. He supports Trump, but Trump doesn't support him. Trump endorsed Tommy Tuberville. I have to wonder about Jeff Sessions not having a stance on any issues. Does he think that the people of Alabama are too dumb to read or care about the issues? Or is he undecided? Trump has endorsed Tuberville, but Tuberville isn't any better. Here's his homepage. Well, at least he does list some of the important issues facing our country, and he does take a stand on them. But for his experience and qualifications for being senator, they aren't just lacking, they're non-existent. Look at what he lists. 1980 to 1984, assistant coach at Arkansas State University. In 1986, Coach Tuberville started a tenure at University of Miami. In 1995, Tuberville became head coach of Ole Miss Rebels. Following the 1998 regular season, Coach Tuberville was the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. Now we get to his political experience? Nope. In 2010, Coach Tuberville was named head football coach of Texas Tech University. In 2012, Coach Tuberville accepted the head coaching job at the University of Cincinnati. After the 2016 season, Tuberville joined ESPN as a full-time member of the broadcast staff. His political education? None. His political experience? None. His only career experience? He was a football coach. He was forced to resign as coach of the Auburn Tigers in 2008. According to Bleacher Report, getting rid of Tommy Tuberville was the right thing for Auburn to do. This is the issue. Tuberville is an excellent defensive mind, recruiter, and administrator who runs a clean program. His problem is that he insists on meddling on the offensive side of the ball, especially in the passing game, and scapegoats his coordinators when things don't work out. Tuberville has no idea when it comes to offensive formations, play calling, and strategy, and even less of a clue regarding what makes a good college quarterback. In other words, he's an armchair quarterback in areas that aren't his forte. Politics is not his forte. Alabama doesn't need an armchair senator. Tuberville's only electable feature is that he's popular. Maybe we should elect Aubie instead. He's popular. Sessions rightly criticizes Tuberville for not being an Alabamian. He spent only 9 years of his career in Alabama. He bought a house in Alabama in 2017, and he has now registered to vote here. But in the last election, he voted in Florida. Doug Jones was elected senator of Alabama despite a low ratio of Democrats in the state, because Alabama was given a choice between a Democrat and a pedophile, Judge Roy Moore, in the special election of 2017. But Doug Jones, unlike his potential Republican rivals, is qualified for the job. He is doing well for Alabama and for the nation as a senator. We need to keep him. Doug Jones came to national prominence in 2002 when he successfully prosecuted Bobby Frank Cherry and Thomas Blanton Jr. for the murders of Denise McNair, Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, and Carol Robertson, 4 young girls killed in the terrorist bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in 1963. The 4 Klansmen that carried out the bombing were well known. The FBI investigated the case and had substantial evidence against the culprits. But J. Edgar Hoover was no fan of civil rights, and he personally ordered the investigation sealed. When the investigation was finally declassified, Jones had the evidence needed to convict the 2 remaining culprits. One had died, and the 4th had been convicted 20 years earlier. Nearly 40 years after the fact, Jones finally brought some justice to one of the most infamous cases of domestic terrorism in this country. Jones has been a public servant most of his life. His website gives his position on many national issues. I don't always agree with him, but he's by far the best candidate. Jones has had an uphill battle to keep his Senate seat due to political upheaval in the Alabama Democratic Party. According to a member of Doug Jones' campaign staff, Nancy Worley, former chair of the Alabama Democratic Party, said that she would see to it that Jones was not reelected. Worley was voted out of office last fall. She protested the election but lost and was replaced by Christopher England. Prior to England being elected, Alabama was in danger of losing the right to have delegates at the Democratic National Convention for failure to comply with rules. Alabama is in the process of rebuilding its Democratic Party, making it more diverse and attracting more young people. Democrats need to regain control of the Senate. To do that, we need to re-elect Doug Jones. He's not just good because he's a Democrat. He's also the best candidate. He has experience, unlike Tuberville. He's clear on the issues. He's not another yes man for Trump, which is Sessions' only platform. Alabama and the nation deserve a real senator, not a clown and not a wannabe. We need Doug Jones. Did Doug Jones approve this message? No. Doug Jones has no knowledge of this video. I'm Godless Granny. Thank you for joining me, and live your life.